Number 1. Kimono Jihen. A small rural town has recently begun to experience a string of unexplainable incidents. You see, after the night of each new moon, the villagers wake up to find some of their livestock brutally and horrifically slaughtered. In order to solve this mystery, they call in Kohachi, a detective from Tokyo who specializes in the occult. Then, surprisingly, upon his arrival, this strange detective takes a liking to the town outcast, a dirty young boy named Kabane. This unlikely duo spends the next few days together as they patiently wait for the next new moon. Though when that night approaches, Kabane discovers a different world that he didn't know existed, along with a whole new side of himself. Kohachi informs him that he is actually part demon, however, to his surprise, he's not the one responsible for killing the livestock. It's after solving the mystery surrounding the new moon that Kabane accompanies Kohachi to Tokyo, where he meets many other half-human, half-monster people. Then it's here in the big city that Kabane begins helping Kohachi solve numerous mysteries, all the while steadily searching for his biological parents. So Kimono Jihen is like Demon Slayer due to the large focus on demons and other supernatural entity. They're also both shonen, which results in a similar feel, however Kabane is somewhat emotionless, which is a stark contrast from Tanjiro. That being said though, I chose to put Kimono Jihen first on this list because I believe it's the anime that you're least likely to have heard of. Now, in preparation for this video, I watched the first 2 episodes and I was actually shocked with how good it was. I guess when it aired, Kimono Jihen just ended up being overshadowed by the more mainstream titles. You know, sometimes the remakes are actually better than the original. Number 2, Dororo. Some people would do absolutely anything for power, and this is how Hyakumaru's tragic existence came to be. You see, his father was a greedy man who willingly made a deal with 12 infamous demons in order to save his territory. This resulted in his prefecture's growth, but was obtained at the cost of his unborn child's body. Hyakumaru ended up being born seemingly healthy, but missing multiple body parts, and because of this, his family cast him out to die. Now, normally you would think this is where the story must end. However, this is actually only the beginning. It turns out that Hyakumaru was taken in and raised by a certain doctor who specializes in prosthetics. So this anime follows Hyakumaru as he tracks down and kills the 12 demons in order to reclaim each and every part of his body. Though along the way, he may end up making an unexpected friend. Dororo made this list due to just about everything. Both anime primarily follow a boy who goes around slaying demons in order to obtain his revenge. It also helps that they take place in a similar time period and that both protagonists primarily use swords. As I previously said, this anime is actually a remake of an anime from the 60s, and this is one of those rare occasions where you can completely skip the original. I mean, at the end of the day, here's what you need to know. This anime is amazing. According to the internet, this next entry is super popular, yet nobody talks about it. Number 3, D. Gray Man. In this world, there are people known as exorcists who spend their days hunting down hideous monsters known as Akuma. Now, these grotesque-looking monsters are actually created by imprisoning the souls of deceased humans inside of a mechanical skeleton. Of course, this isn't a common practice. However, the Millennium Earl plans to plunge the world into chaos by creating as many Akuma as possible. This particular story follows Alan Walker, a boy who just finished 3 years worth of training under General Cross, and is now tasked with finding a secret organization known as the Black Order, so that he can become an official exorcist. It's not an easy journey, but somehow Alan manages to make it with his life still intact. He is then accepted into the Black Order where he meets many unique individuals who all have their very own way of destroying Akuma. Alan's arsenal includes his left eye, which allows him to look into the Akuma and see the tortured souls, and his left arm, which he can turn into a deadly weapon. Then as the newest member of the Black Order, Alan must begin completing missions alongside many new friends and allies. So D. Gray Man is like Demon Slayer due to its very dark and serious, yet comedic shonen story. Not to mention, this story follows a boy who is the newest member of an organization that specializes in destroying monsters, which of course is just like Demon Slayer. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to make you want to watch it or avoid it entirely, but here we go. The simplest way I can describe this anime is to say that D. Gray Man is essentially fairy tale, but with a dark aesthetic. This one is by far my favorite of the list. Number 4, Norigami. Most deities have their very own shrines dedicated to them, but did you ever wonder how they became so popular? Well, Yato is an up-and-coming god who spends his days carrying out any and all tasks for the low price of 5 yen. Now, Hiyori is a regular middle school girl just trying to live her best life. However, one day, she spots Yato recklessly run into traffic, and she immediately dives in front of the bus, successfully saving Yato, but taking the hit for herself. Later that evening, she wakes up in the hospital with miraculously no injuries, though she soon discovers that her soul has been knocked loose from her body. Then it's during one of these excursions that she once again bumps into Yato, who saves her life and takes on the job of fixing her body. Now, Norigami is filled with hilarious comedy, amazing action, and intense emotional drama. It made this list due to the supernatural shonen setting, and because I felt like being a little biased. I mean, could you find some other anime more suited to be on this list? Yeah, probably, if you are strictly looking at the similarities. However, whatever anime that is, simply won't be as good as Norigami. Lastly, we have the anime all of you expected. Number 5, Jujutsu Kaisen. At the moment, Yuji Itadori is part of the occult club and spends his days doing typical high school boy things. However, this all begins to change when he finds himself in the middle of a supernatural battle between some monsters and a sorcerer. You see, these monsters are drawn to a certain powerful artifact, and in order to keep it out of their hands, Yuji decides to swallow it. This results in the being known as the King of Curses to take root in Yuji's body. However, surprisingly, Yuji is actually able to hold back Sakuna. He is then taken into custody by the sorcerers, who determine Yuji to be too dangerous to let live, so they sentence him to be executed. However, a certain handsome bastard persuades them to first let Yuji track down and consume all 10 fingers belonging to the King of Curses. Then, as you'd expect of a shonen, Yuji begins training and working as a jujutsu sorcerer while making some friends along the way. So why'd Jujutsu Kaisen make this list? Well, the only noteworthy difference is that Demon Slayer is set in the past, while Jujutsu Kaisen is set in the present. So what anime did I miss? Be sure to let me know in the comments.